Hello, loves. So today we are on to lesson 74. There is no will but God's. And yesterday I really sank deeply into the thought of I will there be light. And it really brought me to the recognition that it is our will where the power is. But it is not our individual or separate will. It is our joint and united will of our Father. And He wills light for us. And when we accept this light for us, there is no darkness. So in affirming today that there is no will but God's, we can remember that only light is real, that only love is real, and everything else is just the absence of this light and love. And these are very literal concepts. This isn't just like spiritual pretty words. They're a fact, because God is a fact. So to read through the lesson today, there is no will but God's. The idea for today can be regarded as the central thought towards which all our exercises are directed. That's a good way to look at it. God's is the only will. When you have recognized this, you have recognized that your will is His. The belief that conflict is possible has gone. Peace has replaced the strange idea that you are torn by conflicting goals. As an expression of the will of God, you have no goal but His. Now this is beautiful because we can always come back to question, is what I'm doing right now most helpful? Is what I'm doing right now in alignment with the will of God? And we know that the will of God is love, and it's helpfulness for everyone. It is all inclusive. So we can always question ourselves and bring us back in alignment with this. And when we do, we get to recognize that peace is found when we have only one will and only one goal. And that is the goal we share with God. So it is ultimately going to be perfect peace and happiness that is the result of the chosen will. So now we are just allowing ourselves to kind of sift and sort between those current goals and beliefs and ideas and thoughts that we're currently holding on to, and realizing that it's not these that we want to hold on to. We only want one thing, and that is the will of God that we want, and it is for our highest good. There is great peace in today's idea. There is great peace in today's idea. And the exercises for today are directed towards finding it. We want to find the will of God within us because it is in us. The idea itself is wholly true. Therefore, it cannot give rise to illusions. Without illusions, conflict is impossible, and I will repeat, without illusions, conflict is impossible. There can be no conflict within ourselves, there can be no conflict within our relationships, and there can be no conflict in the world. And when we see this and accept this for ourselves is the way given us to help other people join in on this remembering with us. Now that's currently what's happening in my life. The gifts are given me to give, right? So that there can be no more conflict, because there is no conflict when you accept the will of God. Let us try to recognize this today and experience the peace this recognition brings. This is the goal of the course, everybody. Peace. Begin the longer practice periods by repeating these thoughts several times, slowly and with firm determination to understand what they mean and to hold them in mind. So right now we don't understand, but we're allowing ourselves to sit with these thoughts to allow that understanding to come from within, not from the thinking mind, but from the heart space. So there is no will but God's. I cannot be in conflict. There is no will but God's. I cannot be in conflict. Then spend several minutes in adding some related thoughts, such as, I am at peace, nothing can disturb me, my will is God's, my will and God's are one, God wills peace for His Son. During this introductory phase, be sure to deal quickly with any conflict thoughts that may cross your mind. Tell yourself immediately, there is no will but God's. These conflict thoughts are meaningless. So this is bringing to our attention today awareness of mind, becoming aware of what's going on internally. And if we recognize a conflict in any way within ourselves, within our world, within our relationships, then we can immediately apply the thought, there is no will but God's. These conflict thoughts are meaningless. And when we do so, we are calling to the light. We are calling to the truth. We're calling for correction of our misperceptions. And this is the only way we're going to sink into this deep peace that God is and we are. If there's one conflict area which seems particularly difficult to resolve, single it out for a special consideration. So this is good. We get to dive deeper into the single parts that truly seem to cause conflict within us, seemingly. Think about it briefly, but very specifically. Identify the particular person or persons and the situation or situations involved, and tell yourself, there is no will but God's. I share it with Him. My conflicts about so-and-so cannot be real. And by affirming this to ourselves, we're allowing ourselves to see the reality beyond these illusory conflicts that we are currently foreseeing in our mind, in our life, and in our past. We want to free ourselves from these burdens today. After you have cleared your mind in this way, close your eyes and try to sink into the experience of peace. Wow, I added a word there. Close your eyes and try to experience the peace to which your reality entitles you. Sink into it and feel it closing around you. There may be some temptation to mistake these attempts for withdrawal, but the difference is easily detected. If you are succeeding, you will feel a deep sense of joy and an increased alertness rather than a feeling of drowsiness and enervation. Joy? Gotta look that one up. Google. Anybody Google enervation? It's not in my vocabulary as of yet. Joy characterizes peace. By this experience, you will recognize that you have received it. You know you have received it when you are at peace and you feel joy. If you feel yourself slipping off into withdrawal, quickly repeat the idea for today and try again. I love it. I love that Jesus is referring to the mind wandering as withdrawal. You're experiencing a withdrawal from your old thought system, right? You're experiencing a withdrawal from your drug, which is your thoughts. So what we're doing today is we're moving beyond the thoughts to the space and the peace that is beyond it, where we can know that God's will is our own. So when we experience the temptation to go back to our busyness of mind, thinking about what we're going to do in the future, what's happened in the past, what do we got to do around the house, what do we got to do for the kids, when we recognize that, Jesus is referencing it as a form of a withdrawal. So when we catch ourselves, just bring ourselves back to attention and remember the thought of the day. Do this as often as necessary. There's definite gain in refusing to allow retreat into withdrawal, even if you do not experience the peace you seek. I think withdrawal is going to stick with me. In the shorter periods, which should be undertaken as regular and predetermined intervals today, say to yourself, there is no will but God's. I seek His peace today. There is no will but God's. I seek His peace today. And I think this is important to just bring forward again, because he has mentioned this a few times now, how important it is to have regular time intervals to do these lessons. Because once we have regular time intervals, it becomes more natural for us. We don't, it makes it easier to remember our function, right? And so, to set particular time intervals, maybe even on your phone or on your watch, to set a reminder for yourself, it would be helpful for the whole mind training process. So there is no will but God's. I seek His peace today, which is perfect. Then try to find what you are seeking. A minute or two every half hour with eyes closed if possible would be well spent on this idea for today. So, in other words, as often as you possibly can, repeat today's idea that there is no will but God's, and we are seeking for this realization in the peace and joy that is our own. So beyond all of the current or past experiences of pain and suffering, we can apply today's thoughts specifically to it so we can see a reinterpretation in its place. And ultimately, that's what we're calling for today. A healing of our minds to bring peace to our minds and our beings and our world. So, with that being said, I love you all, beautiful souls, and have a wonderful day. Bye.